You know what takes away some of the scariness of Pet Sematary is that the Ramones did a theme song for it.
true.
It's just like
I don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery. I don't think there's much danger of that, Joey Ramone.
It's the laziest Ramones song in history.
I don't want to be buried.
You just hear them cashing the check as they write that thing.
Right now is the time for me to leave everything I know behind.
I woke up thirsty on an island in the sea. Woke up hungry with hungry cougars surrounding me. I hit the soft spot in the soft spot of my head. It made me tired, so I sung from my bed. I'm ready to die. I'm ready to die. I'm ready to die.
Man,
You guys ready to die?
Green Album got dark.
It's dark subject matter. It's Halloween, guys.
I'm actually surprisingly unready to die.
Oh, okay.
We were just talking about this.
I know. I just don't want to. I don't want to. My kids ask me when I'm going to die, and I'm like, I'm shooting for 122 at least. Never done. Well, 122 because that's the oldest living person to date that we know of anyway.
Really?
That French lady who lived to be 122.
France. I would have
Yeah.
thought.
When she was like 120 or 121 or something, she was like, God has forgotten me. And then the next year she died.
That is dark.
He remembered. Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
Wait a minute. What is this string tied around my finger for? Oh, French lady.
Oh, fucking Marguerite. Oh,
Damn it.
it's all.
Mama, why did you have to anger God? It's not a good idea.
Well, it was either that or a zombie apocalypse is going to get her. So.
Right? Yeah.
So we're talking about the dead, but more specifically, we're talking about Shaun of the Dead.
We're kind of technically talking about the undead. But...
Shaun of the Undead.
But also the dead.
Oh, okay.
I guess. Not for long, though.
The dead will make you dead. The undead will make you dead.
I guess. Yeah.
And then
Continue.
Okay, God, Jesus Christ, all the way up. All right, so we're talking about Shaun of the Dead. It's 2004 Edgar Wright zombie comedy, which is one of the earlier cultural touchstones responsible for helping kick off second wave zombie fever that gripped the world from the early aughts. You guys remember Zombie Fever, right?
Yeah.
Zombie Fever, like Zombie Zoo by Tom Petty.
Yeah.
I think he started.
That's
in
first wave.
1989.
That's first wave.
That was it. It's all Petty.
Yeah, I Googled it. I was curious around like all the other zombie movies that came after this or slightly before this, or even I even throw like the virus movies in there too.
Yeah.
Like
It was on the cusp.
Contagion,
Outbreak.
yeah.
Like 28 Days Later, which is more of like a psycho.
So that was
zombie,
before.
like,
I looked that up
movie.
because that's probably my favorite.
It was
That's
right
20.
by it.
That's 2 years before this one, but
It was truly horrifying.
And Shaun of the Dead makes reference to 28 Days Later at the very end. So
yeah. There's a trivia bit where they're like, "Why did you make slow zombies instead of fast zombies?" And he was like, "Because being dead doesn't make you fast." Something along the lines of that.
duh.
Oh, he's like, death is not a performance enhancer. I think that's his quote. Because it always annoys me that people get killed by slow zombies because you're like, just fucking move like at all, like a mile an hour. Like walk away from them and they won't get you.
just jumping right into what you don't like.
Well, no, it's all zombie movies where you're just like, fast zombies are good because you're like, holy shit, they can run. Like you're dead.
So I have to admit, I got caught up in like the zombie fever when it first was kicking off. And I read that Max Brooks book, World War Z or something Z. It was basically a survival manual. Yeah. And I found it really fascinating because it was basically just a survival manual and he peppered in zombies throughout it. So it was super believable with occasionally some references to zombies. And that was one of the things that I really, I took away from it that I never really thought of before was that humanity could survive zombies if they just went to the cold parts of the world, because zombies will freeze because they don't have blood flowing. So just when the temperature drops, totally just freeze. Like that makes total sense.
I have so many problems with zombies in general. If you think about it, because you're like, they'd run out of blood and how did, like, you can't do shit. All the organs would shrivel down to like I've seen mummies, and they
Yeah.
have little jars, and
I
the
always-
organs are shriveled up.
I think we're thinking too much about this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
no,
I
it's
always,
really-
I always kind of put zombies in that like magic bucket. Like they
Mm.
don't
Yeah,
need
it's
organs
totally-
or anything anymore.
You
Like they
can't
just
think
Little
about
voodoo.
it. If
Yeah.
you think
Yeah.
about any of the logistics, then the zombie movie falls apart in front of you like
it-
a rotting corpse.
100%. Also, why
Which is why 28 Days Later works. 'Cause
why
they're not actually
decapitating?
dead.
Why does that kill
Yeah.
them? It doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. Like, you know.
Yeah, and Danny Boyle has stated that it's not a zombie movie. They're infected with this horrible virus that
Yeah.
makes them just really fast cannibal
Savages,
people.
yeah.
They're savage cannibals. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's still terrifying as hell. I would still put it in the zombie frame of reference.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
It's
Danny
like
Boyle's full of shit.
so much like a zombie movie that
Wait.
it is, right?
Why the hell are we talking about this?
Oh, yeah, we're not talking about 28 Days Later.
No,
no,
for anyone
I
who
meant
just
Shaun of the Dead.
tuned in.
Yeah, he already did the intro, man.
No, I know, but
no,
the point
I
was to
didn't
to
actually do the intro.
expose that you have
Um,
not seen it.
I'm
Yeah.
still
Oh,
doing
yeah.
the intro.
Yeah.
So, Shaun of the Dead stars Simon Pegg as Sean and Nick Frost as Ed, his boorish bestie and flatmate, because it's British, who, after a night of heavy
Right.
drinking, to get Sean's mind off of being summarily dumped by his longtime girlfriend Liz, played by Kate Ashfield, wake up to find that they've missed the better part of the zombie apocalypse and must put on a stiff upper lip, keep calm, and carry on. Come up with a cockamamie plan to rescue Liz and her flatmates, David and Diane, played by Dylan Moran and Lucy David, respectively. If you don't know any of these names, it's because they're all starring in like British shows, which not a whole lot of people this side of the ocean have seen, I assume. As well as rescuing Sean's mother, Barbara, played by Penelope Wilton, and her husband and his stepfather, Phil, played by the impossibly British Bill Nighy. One of my favorite characters in there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, ledge.
So it's got comedy, it's got action, it's got romance, it's got ice cream cones, but most importantly, it's got the rabbit fighters talking about it. So once again, we've got at least one among us that hasn't yet sampled this tasty Cornetto. Who is it this time?
Yeah, I didn't.
Greg,
see
you
it.
never saw this.
No, I never had. Yeah, I've been with my wife for since 1997, so however many years that is.
Pre 9/11.
Yeah, totally. Met at a crappy temp job and just stuck with each other. And she doesn't like horror movies, and I don't really love horror movies.
I don't love horror
to tell
movies
you
either.
the
so.
truth. And I don't really love zombie movies that much because they're really gross out movies, you know. And I don't like. There are parts in this movie that I watched them full on the first time. I watched this movie the second time, and I just put my fucking hand up over the screen. And a couple times, I was like, I don't want to see this shit again. This is fucking disgusting.
The
and,
same as
like-
with Emo Phillips and UHF.
I know. I don't want to see that shit, man. I don't know. I don't like blood. When they draw
Yeah.
blood at the doctor, I'm like, oh Christ, this fucking sucks. I hate blood. I'm not a fan of that shit, man. I'll keep it inside. I don't want it out. I don't want it out. And then
Don't like red on you.
Yeah, and then like I watched The Walking Dead to stay current. I watched 3 seasons of The Walking Dead, and just because everyone was talking about it, I was like, oh, I'll fucking watch it. It just got so screwed up. Like it just they rip people's faces off in front of you, and their like cheeks and eyes, like eyelids are coming. I'm like, I don't need this, man. I don't need this in my head. I'm good. Life.
You had your fill with your subscription to Fangoria magazine when you were a
Yeah.
teenager.
That was the deal with that was it was just me trying to be like tough and cool when I was like a dork to try to come up with some identity. I didn't actually love horror movies. I was just like, guess how much I'm tough. I can watch people get disemboweled in the Reanimator movie and like laugh because I laugh at death. But I never liked that shit, man.
That's awesome.
We'll keep bringing that up as often as possible.
Yeah, Fangoria.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a badge of honor. And yeah, I had friends that like loved horror movies, and they'd be like, hey, "We got a VHS of the Reanimator," and we're just like, "Wow, this is so much fun." God
Next
damn
week,
it.
we're going to watch Faces of Death.
Yeah, they would watch Faces of Death. I never watched Faces of Death. I
Yeah,
drew
me
the line
neither.
there. I'd be like, I don't need to see a bear eating a guy's head in real life. Fuck
Oh,
that.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
The things we did before the internet.
I know. Yeah, you You had to get,
Passing
you had to
around
get your
VHS.
violence porn in so many different ways. You couldn't just Google that shit.
You kids today.
Kids today.
You're served up your violence way too easily.
Clickety bear eating man's head. Clack, clack, clack.
Gen
Send.
Xers.
There it is.
We had to work for it.
The old-fashioned way. VHS, stolen VHS cassettes.
So Brian, you hadn't seen this since it came out, I assume. It's 20 years old.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Did you see it in the theater?
I don't think so. It definitely feels like a movie I would have seen like just hanging out with my two friends and watching. I don't think because just like Greg, I know it's like I literally saw this phrase rom-com or something. I was like, oh god. Anyways, I hated horror movies. I hated them. I still don't like them. I don't like being scared. Like my idea,
crazy about them.
My idea of hell is a haunted house. Like somebody jumping out and scaring me. Like I fucking lose it. Which made me, as Greg was talking, I have to tell this story just because I feel like I have to be embarrassed. I have to embarrass myself. Maybe edit out. It's funny. My earliest memory of like a horror movie and how much I hated them. My first girlfriend in middle school had a birthday party and we all were there, whatever. I don't know. This is when you have a girlfriend, but you don't like talk to each other. It was, stupid. It doesn't make any sense. She was like a really nice, cute girl and whatever, and, I was very proud that she was my girlfriend. But I had a birthday party and you're like pizza, whatever. And then they were going to watch a horror movie. And so everybody went and I was like trying to figure a way out of it. And I was like, oh God, I don't want to watch this shit. Like I'm going to be whatever. It's probably something like Nightmare on Elm Street or something, and my solution was, you know what? I'm just going to go clean up the party.
I thought you were going to say, I crap my pants.
No.
I gotta go.
So I tried to be like altruistic, like, you know what, guys? Like, I'm gonna go help clean up.
Brian, that's a good kid.
And the other like 7th grade girl turned to your girlfriend and was like, he's a real catch.
I'm like, what a loser.
He's an old soul.
Find a 7th grader who'll clean up for you. Oh boy.
That's so dumb. I remember that though. That's how much like I would avoid scary movies. Just like I hated being scared. I probably still do. Like now I can watch them. Like if we were to put on Nightmare on Elm Street or like Friday the 13th, I think it's jokey. Like it's not scary, but
yeah, totally. And it's creepy as hell. And they're like, it's based on a true story. I'm like,
no, it's not.
My ass it is, but still it's scary. But I always thought the Omen, the Omen, and even the Omen 2, those fucking movies.
Is that the little kid, like Damien?
Damien, he's the devil's son, and like Gregory Peck and Lee Remick in the first one. Like, there's good acting in it and shit, and it's creepy. And they have the Carmina Burana playing in the background, and it's like the Jaws music when something creepy is about to happen. It's like it starts out low and then it starts getting like louder, and so it's like. It's like this Latin, like music building in the back. You're like, oh, and everyone dies in an insane coincidence. Like lightning hits a tower and it hits the pole off the tower, and the pole skewers this guy on the ground. It's no one ever gets shot.
Is it like Final Destination?
Yeah, totally. They ripped off the Omen big time.
Yeah, I was really scared of that movie Child's Play.
Oh my God, Chucky, just kick him.
No. When I was younger, that scared the living shit out of me. Like some doll is going to come to life.
Oh my God.
I've never seen any of those. I've never seen any of the Friday the 13th. Never seen any Halloween. I've never seen any Hellraiser. I've never seen any of them. Because I like you, I mean, I just don't dig on horror movies. But I have seen some really fucked up ones. Like all the Stephen King ones. For some reason, I saw those and they really fucked me up. Like good God, it fucked me up for years.
I read the Pet Cemetery.
Pet Cemetery. Ooh, I still can't think it's.
When the kid cuts his tendon. Oh God damn it! Oh God, fuck you!
Why did you bring that up?
That's probably the one I've seen the most by Stephen King.
That's the line, Greg.
It's so horrible.
And go to sleep tonight thinking about that shit.
The scene with the sisters in that room, she's all like anorexic.
Yes.
And like,
what
the fuck?
Ugh. Like, was that Pet Cemetery? Or was that?
That's Pet Cemetery.
Shining.
No, that's
Pet Cemetery.
The Shining has the.
It's the wife's sister.
Okay, but yes, I know what you're talking about. Oh,
Yeah,
god,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
fucking scary.
I've
God
forgotten.
damn it!
so
I'm
much
in the
about Pet
basement, and I'm gonna have to
Sematary.
go upstairs
I am
at
too, man.
midnight tonight. Fuck you guys.
See, the best part about Shaun of the Dead is that it's a comedy and it's not real. It's
Yeah,
none of
it's
this,
not
like,
scary at all. There's
It's
nothing.
not scary at all.
How up to date are you guys on your
I've
70s,
seen-
60s George
oh.
Romero
I
era?
never saw.
I've seen Night of the Living
yeah.
Dead.
I've seen Night of the Living Dead. I never saw Dawn of the Dead. I
Oh,
don't
Dawn of the
think.
Dead was excellent.
Yeah, or it's the other way
What's the
around.
one-
And
I've
the
seen
reboot.
one of the Romero movies, but it's
What's
been
the one where in the
forever.
mall?
Dawn of the Dead.
Oh,
That's
that's
Dawn
what
of
I've
the Dead.
seen.
All right.
The
That's a good
shopping
one.
mall.
The original 70s one is great, and
Yeah.
the remake is also pretty darn good. Yeah, my schooling on all these is very spotty. Like it's very random. Like the weird horror movies that I have seen.
Yeah.
But I mean, all the ones you touched on from like the 80s, like I missed all of those. A
You
lot of it
did,
probably because
I
I
wish I
was
did.
growing up overseas and didn't have access to them. But by the time I was in high school, Scream came out, and I was like, no one's
Yeah,
watching the shit from the
saw-
80s anymore.
Saw
So
it later. Yeah.
Was that like fifth wave horror movies? Those shitty,
Yeah,
shitty
totally, yeah.
I know what
90s,
wavered.
like, I know what you did last summer.
It's like jokey,
Yeah.
self-referential horror movie where you're like, this is barely supposed to be scary. I think.
So clearly, like all three of us are not even horror fans. It's
No,
really
No,
funny.
not at all.
Not
Not
Like,
at all.
none of us
Yeah, I
is
would
like-
never have suggested this movie. Yeah.
When I saw this, I absolutely loved it. I walked out of the theater feeling like just completely satisfied with the movie I had just seen from top
Yeah.
to bottom.
Really?
Just like that was something really, really great. Yeah, I dove into the zombie second wave. Watched a ton of
Head
movies
first.
after that.
This is
Went
your-
back and watched a bunch of movies, and then somewhere around the third season of Walking Dead was like, "Fuck this! This is I'm tired. I'm done with zombies."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead. Yeah.
What did you guys think? What was good about it? What did you
Why
like?
don't you start? Why don't you start with what you like, Josh? You were.
So we,
I
so we
love-
can copy you.
Yeah, I mean, I love the relationship between Ed and Sean.
Yeah.
They're like, it's such a pure like buddy movie. And I take it, like reading after this, that they are actual best friends in real life, and so that
Yeah.
really translates. And I think that makes a huge difference. I love the menacing buildup in the first like 20-30 minutes of the movie, where it does fully start with like rom-com, but then there's slowly like little clues that start happening. Someone drops on the street, and then it just becomes more menacing and more menacing and more menacing to where they're stumbling home drunk, and then shit starts to like really get real. Where I think there's like a couple that was like necking in the corner there when they walked
right
in.
at the end.
Yeah,
right at the end of things being okay.
Yeah, then when they
Or
walk out
seeming
again,
okay, yeah.
the dude's head falls
Yeah.
off, but they don't see it. 'Cause
Oh,
they
God.
start, God.
It's very well. I will agree. It's very well constructed. It's very assured. He lays everything out really carefully, interestingly, layers comedy in, gives you little like drop hints of like, because it's going to be a zombie movie, and they don't have to surprise you.
Yeah.
Like, guess
in the
what?
title.
There are zombies. Yeah. So like. But they know that that stuff, and so they know you'll be looking for stuff, and so they can put really subtle things in, like dropping stuff in the background, like the guy with the pigeon. That isn't that subtle, I guess, but like even later when he goes to the corner shop after the world is blown up, and he's just like walking back with it, he misses the blood handprints on the door. He doesn't see him. He grabs a Coke, no, Diet Coke. I'm turning over a new leaf, Diet Coke. And then they just show him go sweep, and he slipped on blood, but they don't show blood. They don't, what I mean? Like they don't overdo it. So I'm like, this is really well laid out.
I love all this. And then when he's walking out before shit goes, like before the kid kicks a soccer ball at him, he's like, "Hey,
Yeah,
you're dead."
you're dead. Yeah.
Like all the little foreshadowing that
Well, later,
there.
the
It's
kid
fa-
is
it's
dead.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I rewatching it, noticing like all the extras, all the actors in the beginning, like in the opening credits, they come back as zombies, like the person at the shop, like Boop Boop Tony's, that are going through,
Boop
people
Boop Tony.
moving the shopping carts, like they're all people that you see later on in the
Yep.
movie who are just zombified.
I read that, but I didn't notice it when it happened. Like I didn't notice like, oh, the checkout lady at the grocery store at the very, very beginning opening credits is the lady in his yard, the first zombie that they encounter or whatever. Like
She's so drunk.
I noticed because the shirt pattern and she had a name tag on. I was like, oh, okay, she's from the grocery store where they all were wearing the same shirts.
Yeah. I love that scene where they first start to fight the zombies, and with the records.
Yeah.
Tossing the records at them.
I love that. Yeah.
That was so funny.
The Stone Roses. And he's like, no. He's like, Second Coming. And he's like, I like it. I was like, I do too. I like Second Coming. Second Coming was good.
Blue
They
Monday.
shat on
He's
it,
like,
but
it was the first pressing.
it's the first pressing.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Sade.
Sade. That's Liz's.
That's
Throw
Liz.
I read that the only two artists that agreed to like show the album cover in the movie were Sade and New Order.
That's funny.
A bunch of others never responded to them, so they just made reference to it.
I was like, no love for Dire Straits, huh?
Wasn't
Awesome.
did I make this up or was one of them the Batman?
Yeah, the Batman said
That was the
chuck
first
it, chuck it, because he went through Sign of Purple Rain, Sign of the Times, so it's all Prince material.
Oh, okay.
That crate digging scene is funny when they're chucking stuff. It is gross though too, like the piece of record lodges in the guy's face. I'm like, I don't like this shit, man.
I think there's that line of like realistic gore and like comedy gore, and it just seems goofy to me. Like it never looks doesn't gross me out because I know it's just so over the top fake. Like when they rip the entrails out of
That's the one scene.
That's his name, and I was just like,
that was a hand. That was a hand for me. That
but it
fucking
looks
scene.
so goofy, and his legs ripped off. And it's like, it's funny.
It is horrifying.
It's
I don't
so
care
funny.
what it looked. I'm sure they used animal entrails or something. I was like, no. I watched it the first time just to be good.
Fuck that guy. I'm glad
I
they
don't have
ripped
to
him
fucking
apart,
see this
though.
again. It's like British John Cusack getting disemboweled by fucking 70 zombies.
Yeah. Who was that? That was David. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fuck
David, the Irish comic. I guess he's a comedian. Dylan Moran.
Yeah.
Brian, what did you like? What did you like, man?
I think this was I really I feel like this kind of was part of or at the tail end of kind of the UK like comedy resurgence in a way, because like there was The Office UK,
Mm-hmm.
and that became really popular, and then that was only on for 2 years, and this was right after that, and even two actors from The Office are in this, Martin Freeman and
Lucy Davis.
but I feel like I really like that and that brand of comedy, and I feel like that the writing in this is very funny and witty like that. And as to like what Joshua said, like I like the buddy comedy component, but I think it's really well written. Like the jokes are smart and they're well placed. There's nothing like overtly stupidly funny, but it's just like the little quips and like the structure with which it's done. They do a lot of the like at the very beginning at the bar where he's trying to talk, the girlfriend's trying to talk to him about his relationship, and he's just like at the pinball machine, whatever. She's like,
It cuts over.
it cuts over to him. He's like, oh
Yeah.
fuck it, like he's just like cutting in and saying like it's just really the gags and the jokes aren't super obvious, and like I think to your point, I think a lot of that comes from it just being really well constructed. But I think both Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg had been writers before, so I think that helps. It wasn't just like an actor trying to write. I'm guessing they were writers first on probably. I mean, I would guess a comedy or something.
The show
TV
Space.
yeah.
Space.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Which Shaun of the Dead was inspired by an episode of Space, which I went back and watched and was not impressed.
Oh yeah, you said that. You were like, oh yeah, British TV shows can be.
I think I didn't laugh even
something.
one time in the 30 minutes of that episode of Space. I was like, this is so dry.
It's so British.
I think for me, for British comedy, I mean, we probably talked about this a lot during the Monty Python episode, but the wit is great. So when it's done well, I just think it's hilarious. Like The Office, I think Ricky Gervais is funny, and Stephen Merchant, and I think these guys are funny in terms of the way they're writing. I could care. I mean, the zombie thing, gets old to me really fast. Like I don't really care. Like the slow walking zombie thing, blah, 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 let's kill them. Yeah. The whole movie's about killing zombies, whatever. But it's not. It's kind of, the redemption of Shaun with his girlfriend and kind of proving,
because that's what every good movie has to be about. The story,
Shaun's arc,
the story that brings people there. Like it's a baseball movie like Bull Durham, or it's a zombie movie like this movie. Those subjects have to serve the human, story at the center of it, or it doesn't work, right? So like, in the same way that baseball has to be a catalyst to get these two older people to finally like drop their stupid lives and fall in love with each other. And here, the zombies are the catalyst for this guy to finally realize his
He's in
own
love with
inner
Ed.
leadership qualities and figure out that he actually does, love his girlfriend, so like this, the zombies are a catalyst for the story that, needs to happen with the people. Otherwise, if it's all about zombies, nobody gives a fuck, right?
Yeah.
So
But I think to Josh's point earlier, I think we got a little zombied out, and it's like
yeah,
Zombie
totally.
Land and World War Z, and
Yeah.
like I was trying to Google all these zombie movies.
There's so many.
Well, yeah, I mean, Hollywood is just piranha chum. It's like the chum in the water. They just all go for the same fucking thing.
Can I suggest that that's the name of your autobiography? Greg. Hollywood is just chum.
Chum in the water.
Piranha chum.
Piranha chum. That's a good
Love
animated
that.
movie about
I love
two
that.
piranha friends.
Sidebar, I was thinking about this. Is The Road a zombie movie?
I didn't
The
see
book
that one.
by Cormac
What's the
McCarthy
road?
came
Oh.
out near around this, but
Is the movie The Road starring Viggo
Yeah.
Mortensen based off the
yes,
Oh,
Cormac
no.
McCarthy one?
yeah,
I had no idea. I just thought they stole the title.
no,
Which, they do.
Which we just exposed. You don't know how to read.
The Road?
No, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't even know I don't know the title at all. I don't know the road.
Won the Pulitzer.
I'm not familiar with it.
Is I Am Legend a zombie movie?
Yes.
Didn't see it.
Will Smith, terrible.
Will Smith. Isn't there like a dog, a demon
Yeah.
dog or something in it?
He has a
something? There's
dog in
demons
it,
in
but it's a lot of like the same post-apocalyptic thing, right?
I've heard
Undead.
Yeah.
Train to Busan is supposed to be really, really good.
You know
never
what?
heard of that.
I feel like
It's like a Korean zombie movie.
zombies,
Oh,
vampires, werewolves, like we just keep rehashing the same shit. Like
yeah. I mean, they exist.
at
for
least
a
this one's
reason.
clever. I mean,
Because
this one's
humans
clever.
are afraid of death, Brian.
We're back,
afraid
of
back to
death.
existentialism.
I also think like because
The Wolf of Oblivion.
I've often wondered about the purpose of horror in our society.
Ooh.
I'm like, I think it's just because like we used to be in peril all the time. When we were people just emerging and just finding our way, and every time you try to eat something, it might poison you and you die, and wild animals chased you on a regular basis. Like your life was hanging on by a thread every fucking day. And so we have this genetic thing in us that's like fight or flight, is looking for fight or flight, circumstances. And we don't really have them anymore. If we want to, you can sit on the couch all day like Shaun and his buddy and just play video games and drink beer and shuffle off to the corner store when you need something. And the worst thing that happens to you is a kid hits you with a soccer ball, you trip on the curb, and like we need these little jolts that like feed that fight or flight instinct that's still buried in the back of our heads from like our old monkey days. That's my only
Pokes you in that little part of your brain.
yeah that the thing that needs itching, it scratches that itch. I don't know.
It's a
my
good
only
theory. I support that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I
well,
don't
that I
know.
think
I don't
the
know.
dopamine kind of thing.
Yes, but there's so many things that give you dopamine.
I mean, the shot of
know?
adrenaline of like
That
being
it's-
scared
that,
and like that.
scaring the shit out of you.
I
Yeah,
don't like
but,
being scared.
I don't either. I hate it.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a kind of person that is attracted
Yes.
to the horror genre, and it's not me.
No.
Yeah.
Because there's the jump scares which piss me off, and then there's like Pennywise the clown
Oh,
coming out of the drain
yeah.
in the shower in the high
I never saw
school
that one. Yeah.
that caused me to take baths for 5 years. So, it's like I don't like it. I don't like it.
But then
So-
you ever think of this? I was thinking
Yeah.
about this. There's a strange crossroad where it's a horror movie, but it's also like a film that I want. Like the perfect example of this is like The Shining.
Yeah.
So Kubrick, it's a great film,
Oh, it's great.
but it's scary as shit. And I was like, God, it's this really good movie, but I don't want to watch this, but I kind of want to watch it.
Yeah.
And it scares the shit out of me when he's riding his little bicycle around. I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Like,
But that relies on skill.
No,
Like
Red
that
Red
movie
Ram.
relies on skill. It's not like the local haunted house where you're walking
Yeah.
down a dark corridor and a little hand grabs your ankle from below from a cutout. Like anyone can fucking do that, But yeah, it's this, I feel like this movie, Shaun of the Dead, earns some of its scares. Like it's
you
not
were
trying
scared
to not.
once?
it's not trying not to be scary.
No.
Yeah, like they're in peril all the time, and like when they do kill people, and I'm like, it's a British movie, so people are gonna die in this movie because British people aren't afraid to kill you, even if you're the main character. So like, you really kind of don't know who's gonna die.
Just like Bridget Jones's Diary.
Well, British rom-coms are an entirely other story, but like if it's a British cop show, a mystery, a horror movie,
A Bridge Too Far. Yeah,
they kill
lots
everyone.
Lots of people die.
British don't give a fuck. They kill everyone. They're like, well, you're like, oh, it's a TV series, so they're not going to kill this main character. The third episode, they just fucking killed the main character in the third episode. And
The
they're like,
fucking priest died.
well, we've decided the series is going to be 7 episodes. And we've already decided, and we were going to kill as many people as we can in 7
That's
episodes.
so ridiculous. All right, one last question before we grade this sucker. So in the zombie apocalypse, what's your weapon of choice?
Does it need to be a weapon that's featured in this movie?
No.
Foam cricket bat.
Yeah.
You open a closet and your weapon of choice is right there. What are you going for?
If I have unlimited ammunition, I'm probably going to go with like a shotgun or something. Like,
For stopping power?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that I don't have to be super accurate, but I have to be kind of close. So that's kind of, but I mean, not really.
Yeah.
I mean,
So if you have unlimited ammunition, but what if you don't?
well, yeah, that's the problem. Is like then you don't have.
Yeah.
Then you're going with something like what's something that's.
Fungo bat.
I was gonna say bat or
It's
something like
long.
that.
It's like a long, and
Like-
it still has power. Yeah.
Like the baseball clowns and
No
Coney
warrior.
Island.
You know what? You know what I might go with? One of those barbell bars that weighs like 10 pounds on its own or something. You know, like a
Just the
Like a
bar.
pry bar.
yeah, just the bar. You know, that you hold weights on for like curls
Oh.
and stuff like that. So like a long, bar from one of the, because it won't break, right? Like if you had a bat, eventually you'd break the fucking thing.
Yeah.
I think those are
You had a
like.
gun, you run out of ammo. If you have bow and arrow, you run out of arrows. Like
Yeah.
I think the yeah, but
flamethrower.
that
It's not
thing's like
Legolas.
40 pounds on its own.
Well, you get a lighter one, right? Get a lighter one. Get a 10-pound one.
That's what I was saying. A baseball bat's maneuverable, but maybe something like an axe because that can actually decapitate.
Very good.
But
Well, like a
Yeah.
long baseball bat that was aluminum would also be good.
ooh.
But it wouldn't have that. The aluminum bats don't have that much power in them. You have to get a real heavy
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it
Plus
needs
your hands, like,
decapitation
vibrate.
power.
After you,
Sporting goods store.
that's why I'm going with machete all day long.
Machete,
that's a
you
close
get
range
too
weapon,
close.
though.
You got close range. Yeah. You get bit.
Never runs out of ammo.
You get bit.
What about a spear?
Yeah, so
Spear.
I think that's a good secondary choice. You take the long thing, attach a blade to the end of it, like one of those like
Spears.
I don't know, like
Sickle.
Chinese army ones.
The scythe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
well,
you can get some
scythe
good cutting power from a distance.
A metal
Yeah.
scythe would be ideal, right?
Mm.
Because it's all a decapitation device, right? Basically.
But again, if I have unlimited ammo, I'm doing like a shotgun.
Okay.
Or
This is like one of those things my son asked me, like, would you rather be burned alive or have your eyes gouged out with a hot poker? And you're like,
my eyes.
like neither.
I guess
Well,
eyes.
one I
His
survived.
eyes
still
are
alive?
Weird.
I love hypotheticals. You could ask me hypotheticals all day. I do this to Jen in the car. She's like, I don't
You're
care.
a
She's
kid
like,
at
I'm
heart.
not. She's like, I'm not engaging. I'm like, well, what if? I love hypotheticals.
I'm not
She won't
engaging.
engage like in my stupid hypotheticals. But I could do
We both know how this ends. I'm not engaging.
yeah. But I mean, see, I'm already thinking it. I'm thinking, but what about a long range weapon like a sniper
Like
rifle?
the ICBM.
Tactical nukes.
Yeah. Or like just something
only way
with
to
a
be sure.
scope, because then you can keep your distance.
Yeah. That's
Mm.
one thing I found unrealistic too. And, of course, it's unrealistic. It's a fucking zombie movie with jokes. But, like, I bet the British government would nuke the town. They'd be like, they wouldn't send soldiers in. They'd just be like, just press a button and have horrible death rain upon the whole city and blow it up to fucking smithereens.
Cheerio, Manchester.
Totally. It'd be like, the Children of Men, right? Where they come in and just like, like they tried shooting and then they just send missiles in.
I
And they're
forgot
like,
what
fuck
I gave
it.
that movie.
All right, so let's grade this. Is this on a scale of Shaun to Shaun. Is it a Shaun spelled SHAWN, which is an F minus, or Sean SEAN,
Like a Sean Astin.
which is
Isn't
an A
it
plus?
SHAUN?
Well, yes, that's the name of this movie, but
Okay.
the grading scale,
I don't understand.
the
that
worst
then.
spelling is Sean SHAWN.
Oh, this is fair. You know, Sean. I
Most
you
common
know,
one.
makes me think of Sean Astin.
Yeah.
Would you like me to go first?
Yeah, go for it, hog lumps.
Do it. Hog lumps. You do your thing.
Could I be now known as Hog Lumps?
For people who can't see,
Go for it.
each of us
My
has
lumps.
a name on screen, and
Yeah,
No, I
Brian
like
is hog lumps.
yeah, I like that the audience just thinks that you call me Hog Lumps off camera.
Joshua's Cafe au lait pourvu. I'm Cornetto, and Brian is hog.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the whole stupid Cornetto thing that
Yeah, we talked about it.
I know in previous episodes.
Scott
Yeah, yeah,
Pilgrim,
yeah.
but
It's dopey.
We didn't even talk about Edgar Wright at all in this, which
I don't know
the
anything
director
about him.
of this. Then he did Scott Pilgrim, which we did. So
I mean, there's another episode. There's
Oh.
another potential episode on the list, the Sparks Brothers movie, which is a documentary, which he also directed. So maybe we'll get a chance to talk Edgar Wright some more in the future. But
I want to lean.
for now, let's grade this.
Yeah, I'm definitely leaning obviously more towards the SEAN.
Sean Bean.
Yeah.
There you go.
The more of a Boromir. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, I think I liked it as much now as I probably the first time. It's been 20 years. I hesitate to give it an A because it's a rom-com, but
If they'd never called it a
yeah.
zom-com, you'd have given
A
it
zomedy.
an
but it's funny. It's a funny movie. Like it,
Zomedy.
I don't think it's like some sort of classic comedy by any means, but
Yeah.
B plus. I think it's a solid B plus. You know, like maybe it's telling that I haven't seen it in 2 decades, but like I've felt no need to revisit it. But having revisited it, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I think it's well written. It's funny. I think these movies in the early 90s and stuff kind of date themselves a little bit. Anytime you're doing comedy jokes, I feel like sometimes kind of, you know, they fuse themselves to that era, that decade a little bit. Like I said, I immediately just connected this to like The Office. Like it's that same like humor at that time. That which at the time was, you know, snappy and a little modern, you know, that kind of stuff. So but the fact, like, for example, he's wearing a shirt, like you said earlier, it's like I've got wood or something. It's like, haha, penis, you know, like
and like they have old jokes like, you know, everyone just keeps answering their cell phone when they shouldn't, which like nobody does
like your
anymore.
phone rings and inopportune
Like, who the
times.
fuck is calling me?
Hello? Yeah. You're like, yeah, you get mad at people when they call you now. You're like, fuck you.
So-
Who's calling me?
Yeah,
Asshole. On my phone.
that's
My youngest had we ordered 3 pairs of glasses for him 2 weeks ago, and we've been waiting to find out. And so my wife finally called them yesterday, and they're like, "We've been calling your husband." And I'm like, "No, they have. Those are spam. No one answers that shit."
Potential spam. That's what it reads as on the caller ID.
or you have to leave a voice.
I'm the asshole for
leave a
not answering the
voicemail.
phone. No, there was no voicemail.
Oh.
And then all of a sudden today, they text me. And like,
Oh,
oh, look who learned how to text. The fucking America's Best classes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, anyways, but yeah,
Tangent.
but I think that's just a fair point. Like it kind of puts itself in that place, which is fine. Every movie kind of does that. I feel like comedies suffer from that a lot bit more than other things because jokes, some, you know, unless it's timeless, it's going to be of the time, and it kind of is what it is. But yeah, I think it's funny. Like I would have no hesitation rewatching this in another 10 years. I think, like I said, I don't. The zombie thing is tiresome to me. Like I can care less about any zombie movie. By the end of it, I'm like, oh my god, we're just killing zombies at this point. So, which is fine. So, but in terms of it being more comedy than zombie movie, I give it a B plus. Good job,
Nice.
gents.
Greg.
Right.
Cornetto.
Yeah, it's hard to grade it. It's you know, I thought I would like it, and I did. And it was like well constructed, as I said earlier. You know, it's well paced. I think it did bog down a little into just pure horror as it got near the end, and people make, you know, poor decisions sometimes that are out of character, which always bugs me a little bit. But it was I felt like it could have been a little funnier, I guess. It was funny throughout. And there were like funny moments mixed in with poignant moments, which is interesting and hard to pull off. And I think they did. There are good performances in it. I liked all the main characters. I mean, I think the David guy, Dylan Moran, he did a good job playing what they asked him to play. So it wasn't like he was bad. His character was just a dickbag. So
You definitely root for him to die, though.
you totally
Oh, yeah.
root for him to die. Yeah.
And it's satisfying
Yes,
when
exactly.
he
They
does.
set
Oh,
him
it
up to
isn't,
be the
though.
guy that's
They
going to
take
get
his head off and shit. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, come on, fuck off.
Yeah,
Take his
it
head
was-
off.
It was gross.
Oh,
Oh, so fucking gross.
in that, I'll interject really quickly. There's, to Greg's point, this kind of goes with him saying the unbelievable parts. Like, why does the girl chase after him outside? That made no sense to me.
Yeah, it made no sense.
His girlfriend,
Uh,
like, dumb. That was stupid.
She's like way into him, even though he's like, oh, I've been in love with Liz the entire time.
Yeah.
I do own this on DVD, and if you watch the extras, they do have an explanation for that, and they went so far as to animate it as well. But she survives somehow. She wields his leg like a cudgel, and
Yeah, I saw
and defeats a bunch of zombies, and ends
Gross.
up surviving later on.
Okay, but that
whatever.
just made me
Yeah.
think of it when Greg said people do things that you don't expect them to towards the end of the movie. It's like, that doesn't
Yeah,
matter
that's
to me.
canonical.
You're like,
'Cause she's
what the
logical the
fuck
whole
would
way
she
through,
do
pretty
that
much.
for? Yeah, she's not stupid. Yeah, and now she's suddenly stupid. And then, you get the feeling like she kind of likes David because some reason, but you wouldn't get the idea that she'd kill herself if he died. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh, there's no life, has no meaning. Now that David's gone. Like, I don't know. She actually seems to like Shaun.
Yeah, I thought so
sometimes.
too. I
was
thought
I thought they were going to spin her, to Shaun as the movie went along. I wish they gave her more because she's funny, man. I like Lucy Davis.
Yeah, she gets them through the acting phase where they
Yeah.
have to pretend to be zombies.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah. But yeah, I overall I liked it a good deal, and I liked, like I said, the ending satire was like, oh, there's the satire that is something that I haven't seen before in a zombie pick, like the exploitation of the stuff and how everything goes back to normal. I think it was a little bit of a lazy person's cop out to have the ending be like, in the end, what really is satisfying in life is sitting on your ass and eating stuff. Where it's like, his girlfriend was wrong to strive for better things earlier in the movie. Really, Shaun's way of doing life is really the satisfying way that we all should be, looking toward.
She came back around.
Yeah, she came back around.
She came to terms with her existentialist dread.
Yeah.
And came to appreciate life as it is and provide her own meaning.
Right. But I did like that too. It's like, there is something to be said for just like being comfortable with each other and, having creature comforts and, being with someone you love. And, it doesn't always have to be like high wire acts and big, shows of affection and stuff like that.
sometimes you can just have a cup of tea.
Sometimes just have a cup of tea, put a kettle on.
Put the
You got a problem? Put a kettle on.
Slice of fried gold right there.
Fried gold, yeah. And I kind of liked it that he went to the shed and Ed is there as a zombie playing video games with him. That's
Still
pretty
his best
funny.
mate.
Still his best mate, of course. He tries to bite him. He's like, Ed!
No biting.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
That's the
so-
most ridiculous part of the entire movie.
Totally.
I thought it was
absolutely.
kind of funny. Like,
It's fun. No, it's
keep your
funny,
best
and I
friend
can't
around.
think of a better ending.
It was a big swing. and
honestly. But
It was a big swing, but it hit. I thought it
I'm gonna
worked.
pop out to the shed.
Yeah. So yeah, I think overall it's I would give it. That's really between a B plus and A minus. I'm gonna give it an A minus. A right on the edge, A minus.
nice. So B plus and an A minus.
Cheers.
Yep.
Cheers.
I'll stick with A minus.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it an A. It's not an A plus because it's not it's not Citizen Kane, which I've never seen Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
Again,
for what it's trying to do, though, right?
Yeah.
It's not about what it's up against. It's what it's trying to do. Is
Yeah,
it
and
successful.
at the time, I had never seen anything like it. It was such a great blend
Mhm.
of comedy and horror, which, like Evil Dead did something like that, but it was like campy, over the top
Yeah.
sort of humor. Whereas this was like it's constructed very, very well, like as a film craft. all the scenes are planned out so well. All the jokes, all the foreshadowing, and all the callbacks. It's like meticulously done, and you can really appreciate the craftsmanship when you're watching it. Like, that joke hit, and I know why it hit because I remember that thing back there, and now it makes sense, and you appreciate it. And I think it's just a fantastic script. The jokes are they're sharp, on point. They never sort of stop until the last 10 minutes where
yeah, it gets
where
grisly as hell.
it's pretty grisly. But then great soundtrack, good characters, good actors in them. All of them have something to do. All of them sort of bring it. But man, I still, every time I've seen this movie, and I've seen it well over a dozen times now since that initial time. It still sticks with me, and it's just like I'm still very satisfied. Hats off. So yeah, I give it an A. Well, okay. Well, happy Halloween. Dia de los
Can I
Muertos coming up.
ask you guys a question?
You may.
What's your favorite Halloween candy to receive?
Mine's controversial.
Oh god, it's not. Is it like Good and Plenty or some shit?
No.
Oh, those are so gross.
Well, you said controversial.
Candy corn. I love candy corn.
Oh, I hate candy corns. It's one of my
Disgusting.
least favorite candies of all time.
I said it was controversial.
Black
guys.
licorice and candy
I
corns.
fucking told you.
Oh, those pumpkins. Ugh.
Melted
The
down.
mellow.
Slag.
The pumpkins are so thick.
They're just so gritty. It's like that. It's like
I know it's
they're
corn
made of,
syrup.
like,
I know it's
corn
nothing
syrup.
but corn syrup.
It's like if there was a
Care.
beach of corn syrup and a beach of corn syrup sand, and they pounded it together into a candy. Like when you bite into it, you're like, it's sandy inside or
He's
something.
like,
Like, what the hell? I'm like, how did they make corn syrup sandy?
Rolled it around in kitty litter.
Josh was getting aroused.
don't forget the 4 food dyes that they injected
This is getting
to make it a
weird.
neurotoxin. Yeah, no.
The heart wants what the heart wants, my friends. I'm sorry. What are your candy choices?
Shit.
I feel like the Holy Grail is always the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, or maybe the Kit Kat. Although I like sour stuff too. So, but they didn't exist when I was a kid. Like something like Sour Patch Kids or something didn't exist. But
Yeah.
I was always like pumped to get like Nerds or something. Because I like
Nerds.
Because I like candy, you know.
Nerds.
But I feel like now as I've gotten older, like I probably would lean more towards chocolate, and I feel like Reese's or Kit Kat is probably my top 2. Oh, I love peanut M&Ms too. But any of those 3.
You've named a lot
I
of
know.
candies.
Standard M&Ms, I think, are actually kind of gross
Yeah.
because it's too much candy shell and not enough extra stuff in there. So you're just eating the shell and the crappy chocolate.
You just need to eat more of them.
The peanut M&Ms, I agree. There's something more to them,
Yeah.
so it doesn't. You're not tasting as much of the shell.
I'm gonna stick with Reese's. I think it's still the king.
For me, it's peanut butter based products are like Reese's stuff is always really good, and Snickers are good too. But you can't eat too many. Snickers.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can only handle the
Send you
mini
like a battleship.
ones of them.
Yeah,
You know,
they have weight to them,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, I shouldn't eat more of
think it's
those.
the
Two,
caramel.
more than 2 of those little mini
Yeah.
fucking Snickers.
it's like Three
Would you like a
Musketeers. It's like it's got
Yeah.
foam in it, but I can
Those are light as
I know,
air. Yeah.
but I can only eat like a mini one because like I can't.
Nougat.
Yeah.
What do we?
See, I thought you asked the Halloween question because I thought you were trying to do a nice segue into what we're doing next week,
Maybe I was.
which is
Reese's
E.T..
Pieces.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
I
Yeah,
thought you were going to do
Pieces.
Reese's Pieces
Yeah,
into
it's a
E.T.
missed opportunity. Yeah,
And now
you
that I
said
say
Reese's
that, like
products.
I'm saying Reese's, that's a
Those
Those are
are
good.
said
That's a good
Reese's
I
candy.
love the pieces.
The PCs.
Pieces.
Yeah.
Like a total aberration for how we pick stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Because we have a special
It's
guest.
true. Next week's guest, Ryan, his favorite movie of all time is E.T. for some reason, and so I don't know how we got on this topic, but he's like, dude, he kept asking me, he's like, if you guys ever do E.T., like, let me know. And I was like, I'm pretty sure we've all seen E.T. And I guess I was like, dude, I don't really remember it. And he's like, well, then you got to do.
There you go.
There you go. And I was like, okay, I guess we'll
That's
do
enough.
E.T. So I don't remember much about E.T. So he's gonna school us on E.T. I guess, and tell us
Yeah,
why
I
it's his
guess.
favorite movie.
It's going to be great. It's going to be hard hitting podcasting.
All right, I'm gonna go phone home.
All right.
Is that code for you have to poop?
Maybe.
We'll see you next week.
I'm gonna have phone
Oh
home.
my God.
Hey babe.
Coming to get you, Barbara.
Hey babe, I got a phone home. See you in about 20.
Hey, can I get the speaking spell?
Get the sports section.
Riding the bus to work, reading cartoons in Newsweek magazine, listening to Massive Attack.
British John Cusack getting disemboweled by fucking 70 zombies.